Okay, now for the update to these turrets. This is the same as before, my old 9-36, but they've added this secondary zero feature, which you can pop on any point that you want, and then that be obvious to you. I mean, they mention for military uses it being for the subsonic load. So you're zeroed with your supersonic load, and you switch to subs, put your mod on, and there's your zero. I mean, you know, that makes sense. So that's a useful little touch. You can see here on the 6-24 that I've adjusted the turrets, which spin round on a fine thread there. You can see the gap, to line up nicely with the zero, so I know which turn I'm on. If I go up 25, there's my little 25 indicator. And as I say, you can bottom them out on the saddle so that it acts as a zero stop, a hard zero stop, but that's unnecessary for me. Same with the windage. Get that just nicely lined up by rotating this collar, having undone those little screws. If you take these screws out in here, the whole thing comes off, but to just rotate and adjust the depth of this section or this section, it's those screws. And it also means that you can line up the zero once you've adjusted your turrets, which obviously is a bit of a given. Okay, there are 4 of the main screws. And these very small ones, of which there are 3, enable the bottom collar to spin. So there's the turret, the burley O-ring, and the markers. So you can see that it's threaded here inside. So if you turn that, you're climbing up, and therefore you're going to, on zero, you're going to be higher up on your turret indicators. And if you turn it down, you could set zero so that it absolutely bottoms out on the saddle, and then that means that you could not go below it. It would be a hard zero stop. Now I'll put it back on and show you that. So there's our turret, let's call it turret stalk, and we're going to line this up so that zero is on zero, obviously, and that the height lines up nicely with the markings. You don't have to worry about aligning anything. Just get it on so it's gripping nicely with our 4 screws. Okay, so now that's on, it now clicks. That is now attached and controlling the elevation. This ring is still loose, and I can adjust that to where I want it. So if I look at my position as I'm on the rifle, I want zero to line up with zero on the stalk, which is there. I'll try and show you that from my point of view here. You see how that lines up nicely with zero? That's where I want it. I'll do it up there. Now you could zero it right at the bottom, right on the saddle. Oh, and then when you came down to zero, it would absolutely be bottomed out, no messing. So you've got various options. I think they're clever. They're clever turrets. Obviously you need a couple of tools to get them set up, but once they're set up, you can then, you know, just crack on. So I've always been a fan of the IOR turrets in that 25 minutes with big wide clicks was always, comfortable with gloves, waterproof, was always the way I saw the tactical and dialing side of the market going. And indeed, everyone seems to have taken to big clicky turrets now. These aren't abnormally large by today's standards. They certainly were, 5 years ago, when Night Force was still, 6 minutes per turn, and IOR were running 25. But now it's kind of standard, and they've improved them. I like the way that there's now this simple red marking on the windage there to show you when you're going left. This zero stop feature is new. The alignment feature is new. The dual zero is new. Quality, I like it. Easy to use, dead simple. It would be nice if the Allen keys required were provided with the scope, which they're not. That would be a classy touch, but it's not the end of the world. Once you've got them, you keep them safe, and whenever you need to re-zero for a new load, you get them out, zero your turrets, put the zero stop in order, and you're good to go.